worm in your pocket?
I have a who?
A worm in your pocket.
Okay, explain.
You said we are being held hostage.
Well, I think, I don't want it to be just about me.
Look, you're in that rabbit hole by yourself.
We're a family here. It's all about us.
I am free.
You can only be held hostage after signing day, not before signing.
We're only as strong as our weakest link, K-Mac.
Well, then.
Travis Etienne, running back out of Louisiana, supposed to announce at 6 on Twitter. Has not happened yet because I think he's negotiated an announcement on a local television station, KPLC Channel 7, somewhere in Louisiana.
But it won't be 6 o'clock there for another hour.
Well, 6 o'clock Eastern.
Oh, okay.
We make the we can. He said 5. We can transition that to 6. We're not that stupid.
No, but do they have a 5 o'clock
we are that
newscast?
stupid.
Anyway, he is going to announce for Clemson or LSU. Tennessee's been involved, but apparently it's Tigers and Tigers. And the feeling from the Clemson side, if you read over there, is they're going to get him. And the LSU side is sort of like, still kind of hanging on for dear life, hoping they're going to get him. But if Clemson gets him, this is another evidence of the power of Clemson's recruiting right now, where they can go into a kind of doesn't produce players annually. They just produce the ones that they do are usually pretty good, and almost all of them go to LSU.
Yeah.
Almost all of them go to LSU.
That's the school in the state.
Yeah.
The school.
And so here would be Clemson going into LSU for the first time since I think the last one they got out of Louisiana was Chad Jasmine under the Tommy Bowden administration, running back.
Yeah.
Well, see,
decent career.
If the Mad Hatter was still there and he goes to Clemson, we thought we had a running back, but he didn't quite have the chest.
Corn, why don't you ever negotiate announcements on Sports Talk?
Announcements of what?
College choices.
We've done that before. And it just, you know what?
Who has announced on this show?
Oh, Gary Gray.
Gary Gray, yeah.
Gary Gray.
Was that the first announcement or the second?
Was
he announced to South Carolina on the show. I was
right.
Yeah, I remember that.
He
and then like 2 weeks later, he went to Notre Dame.
We went to Spring Valley High School, and we did this. Jay Fry was adamantly opposed to us doing it, but he gave in to the wishes of one of his assistants and the family members. And so we went over there and did the show from there, and Gary committed all nice and tidy and everything. And then he waited June to decommit and just like ruin 3 days of my vacation.
Yeah.
Because I had to jump back in on that. And then
so that's why you decided not to do it anymore.
No, well, that kind of 3 others. We did Stanley Hunter up at Burns. We did the running back from T.L. Hanna, who came to South Carolina, Brian Maddox. We did the offensive lineman. Oh, I'm sorry, Gary Gray was at Richland North. And, he's doing it right now?
Can we
on the television?
Can we play it?
Oh, yeah.
Do we have this queued up, or you have it on your other computer?
Can we bring it up real quick? He's talking to the reporter right now live, and he's picked up the Clemson hat, and he's put on the Clemson hat, and that's it.
The Tigers.
Can we bring him up real quick? He's about to be interviewed. Can we get that up real quick, Jared? Etienne commits to Clemson, and he's being interviewed right now by the local TV announcer there.
All right, he's pulling it up.
And, of course, our award-winning producer is Johnny on the spot. The news is that Travis Etienne has now committed to Clemson, and we saw it live just a moment ago.
How many stars does he have, Corn?
I think they give him like 4 stars.
He's a 4-star?
Like that.
Okay,
yeah.
just want to make sure. Because I only care about 4- and 5-star guys.
Well, if LSU, he was a 3-star, but since LSU and Clemson was out after him, they drew another star in.
You got better.
All right, so running back Travis Etienne Jr. commits to Clemson. That's 14 for the Tigers, and that's it. That's going to be their class. Yeah, as far as we know, that completes their class. He'll be the one running back. They've got 2 quarterbacks, Hunter Johnson and Chase Bryce. They've got 2 receivers, Amari Rogers and T. Higgins. 3 offensive linemen, Noah DeHaan, Matt Bockhorst, and Blake Vinson. 2 linebackers, Balin Spector and Justin Foster. 2 defensive ends, Logan Rudolph and Jordan Williams. 2 defensive backs, LeAnthony Williams and A.J. Terrell. So, basically this is a Noah's Ark kind of class, pro.
2 by 2.
2 of everything, except 3 offensive linemen. Everything else is 2 by 2 and 1 running back.
Well, see, I've always thought when they got Feaster that that kid can catch the football so well. You could almost see him as a running back they put in motion or play the slot a lot. So it'll be interesting to see how he's utilized, not only at running back, but as a receiver.
Well, he is 5'11", 210 pounds. He rushed for 2,952 yards and 43 touchdowns. Them had him first. He decommitted from them. He had LSU, Oregon, Tennessee, Alabama. Here's the thing about Clemson that you just have to marvel at. They didn't recruit him until December. They came in December after losing Cordarian Richardson for whatever reason, after looking over what was available and who they might become involved with, and they settled on this guy. And they went out and met with him. He came in for an official visit this past weekend with his family, according to the dad who we talked to. I've never talked to the kid through the entire process, just can't get him. Never talked to the coach through the process, never could get the coach. But anyway, really liked everything that they saw at Clemson. And then they win the recruiting battle. So what does that tell you about what Clemson has going when they can go into Louisiana really at the 11th hour and take, I guess, the best running back in Louisiana away from LSU? What does that tell you about where Clemson is right now in the grand scheme?
It tells you that Clemson says, look, we can't find a running back to replace Gallman. We gave these other guys a chance. We just won the national title. You can come right in and play.
All right, let's go to Evan there in Louisiana, just completed a few moments ago.
Travis Etienne, the 4-star running back from Jennings. And I know this has been a big moment for you. You decided to share the big day with everyone in the Southwest Louisiana community. So without further ado, I see Tennessee, LSU, A&M, Clemson.
I'll be taking my talents to the Real Death Valley.
The Real Death Valley. Well, come over here, Travis. Come talk to us about your decision. Obviously, taking the talents outside of Louisiana, heading to Clemson. What went in your decision?
Just the opportunities that God has blessed me with, and just thinking outside the box and not limiting myself to just things I see around here all the time.
Well, you know, we hear Clemson is a small town, a lot similar to Jennings. Almost if you picked it up, you could put it right there. How much did the small town feel in South Carolina kind of make you want to go?
Oh, that played into it a lot. I mean, I wouldn't be able to go out there and get in any trouble and stuff for that sort. So I feel just like I'm at home.
And then fit. How did Coach Dabo say that you kind of fit on this team? Obviously, the national champions. Maybe need a running back. C.J. Spiller, I think, is the last name. James Davis, C.J. Spiller, the last running backs there to really make it big.
I'll be a perfect fit for the offense with all the group of guys they got, the top quarterback, the receivers, and like spreading the ball out. We won't be one-dimensional, and no team will be able to key on us. So we'll be a really good. Things will be good in the future.
There you go. Travis Etienne Jr. Speaking on Channel 7 KPLC down there in Louisiana. So you hear it here on Sports Talk, and he's done. He likes the small town feel of Clemson. Can't get any trouble there, he says.
Ding, ding, ding.
I hope he has
Who
a
said
police
that?
escort home from the local station. They're
Yeah.
the Real Death Valley.
To call
They have
Clemson
a
the
back
Bunch of
door.
LSU fans watching that. Those people are crazy down there. They don't play.
Okay, good job there, John Mart. A little late, but that's okay. We appreciate it nonetheless. And we'll be back to talk
Crap.
Gamecock recruiting here after the break. Don't go away. We are back at Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. If you want to react to anything, 866 is the phone number. Email talkback@sportstalksc.com and on Twitter @SportsTalkSC. So Clemson lands a quality running back recruit, allegedly, in Travis Etienne Jr. of Jennings, Louisiana, to close out their class with 14. Meantime, South to work its people. Nothing new. We'll have a complete recruiting report for you coming up in a little bit, but just to touch on the headlines as of this afternoon, nothing yet from Brad Johnson. Real dogfight between South Carolina and Virginia Tech there. Coaches were in last night from both schools. Will Muschamp was in last night to visit with him. We'll give you more detail on that coming up a little bit later on. The Gamecocks have a chance to finish with a bang, or they could finish with a little bit of a whimper. In a perfect world for them, as we sit here right now, I think that if they can hold on to Jamias Williams, if they can get Aaron Sterling, if they get Jordan Carty, who I think they will get, assuming they want to go ahead and take him, which I guess they do, if they get Javon Kinlaw, who they should, and then if they can get Devontae Wyatt, who is 50-50 USC and Georgia, and if they can get Brad Johnson, who's 50-50 USC and Virginia Tech, and if Keyshawn Nixon gets into school in the summer, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good finish and a pretty good class for the Gamecocks. Now, all Gamecock fans are worried about Jamias Williams, and don't really have anything new to share with you. Besides what I wrote last night from his coach, I don't have any further clarity in my own mind. I read a story on Gamecock Central by Wes Mitchell, who went to the school. Of course, Jamias isn't talking to anybody, but he talked to other people there. He got some feedback that South Carolina is going to be the choice from people. And he also got some feedback, of course, that people believe it's going to be Georgia. His coach, what his coach told me kind of pushed me back toward the South Carolina side, because the coach said, first of all, he was surprised that Georgia was even in the mix.
Right.
And the other thing is, the kid has always wanted to get out of Athens and go someplace else and do his thing. And he's got a great relationship with Muschamp and Travaris Robinson. And so unless his mind on all that, and he has the backbone to stand in there from all the hometown pressure and sign with South Carolina, that led me to think more South Carolina.
Well, the fact that he's taking the visit is big for South Carolina. Had he shut it down and said, look, I'm not going to South Carolina. So even if he has turned towards Georgia, they have a chance to get the last word with him. And Muschamp and his staff, I keep saying this, but it is true. This is where they have to deliver the goods. This is what his prowess is supposed to be, recruiting. And the whole ice to an Eskimo, whatever the line was that I've mentioned a few times this week, he better start selling that ice to these Eskimos fast.
And he turned some kids last year, and he got a big lineman out of Louisiana.
You got to do it every year.
Well, and look, Hamson, the Florida State, saw what he told us, large part because of the competition there, what he believes to be higher level players and a higher level program and a chance to play at that level that's playing for national championships and all that kind of stuff, which you can't argue that fact with Florida State. I think South Carolina can reasonably say, look, I mean, Georgia's, and we both have got sophomore quarterbacks that are going to be really good quarterbacks. They've got a good running back. I think most people would say, Chuck is a Daddle, but Daddle's got a lot of promise to him right now, too, to be an outstanding running back. And the point is, Georgia won what last year? And then they won their bowl game, and South Carolina. So it's not like he's stepping into a national championship contender if he were to go to Georgia. He can go to South Carolina and do the same thing. So, after listening to what it had me, and then seeing what Wes Mitchell wrote Central had me thinking a little more that, yeah, maybe South Carolina is going to be the place. Again, don't know anything. I'm just trying to put the pieces together.
He's a must-have. Maybe not from so much even the program standpoint, but just the fans. They need a win. And I know it's February. It will be February when he signs. But they need a recruiting win. They need some good feelings.
Well, the one thing I would say that doesn't get enough push, though, is if I got a stud quarterback in the recruiting class, I want to see what kind of offensive lineman coming in there. Because if I can protect this guy, I don't care. I can score some points.
I think they feel pretty good about the group they're bringing in Douglas and Carlay and Daly, the junior college guy, and adding Cardi to the list. He's a good player, 6'7", about 290 pounds. So I think they have to feel good about the 4 that they are bringing in. Then one other player just to discuss, and that is Mike Hughes. And Tony Morrell at the Big Spur, he wrote today that from what he's gathering, it does not appear the SEC is going to allow Mike Hughes in. I can't figure out this rule then. I mean, somebody's going to have to explain to me how they apply the rule. If the rule is to prevent violent offenders from transferring into the SEC, people who've had altercations with women in particular, that's why the rule was drawn up, right?
Domestic violence.
Domestic violence, right. Okay. I get that, fine. But, in Mike Hughes's case, he punched a guy at a fraternity party.
A guy.
I think it was a guy. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it was a guy.
Right.
It didn't. The newspaper account did not say.
My interpretation was it was a male.
Yeah.
He got in a fight.
It was a misdemeanor charge. Okay. You go back to C.J. Jackson, who they didn't allow to transfer, and his thing was participate that he was cleared. He went to court and was found innocent. And then you have the case of Caleb Chalmers, who was arrested on drug possession charges, and they got cleaned up and everything, but he gets admitted. So they're gonna have to explain this to me somehow. How this? Maybe I'm missing.
Get to the bottom of it, Corn. Get to the bottom of it. Anyway, none of those cases. Yeah, the other ones where none of those involved violence against
exactly
a woman.
So why is South Carolina not able to bring these guys in? Is my question. I don't get it. Unless.
Well, they were able to bring all of them in, but
one thing with the Jackson thing, I was told by somebody was that sometimes you take a step before it gets to that step. So maybe USC said no to Jackson before it got to the SEC. I'm not sure if they've done the same thing in this case or not. We got Mason Zandy, former Gamecock offensive tackle, coming up at the bottom of the hour. Alex Cunningham, who got the last out of the college baseball season, and a great place to get it, Omaha. From Coastal Carolina. He'll join us after 7 o'clock. His baseball practice is getting.
And ask him how many home runs he hit in his high school career.
Well, ask him that. He went to Burns High School. All right, let's go to the phones very quickly. And we're going to go to James in Williston. Hello, James. Welcome to Sports Talk.
Hey, Phil, Kevin, Pro. Well, South Carolina, you'll have a sophomore quarterback, and all the recruits and all that they're not getting, and all the players know Clemson getting. You pick South Carolina to whoop Clemson this coming year. I just
what do you think?
To me, I just wanted, you said you wasn't drinking, I just wanted you on the corn brew,
Yeah. So you're questioning why I think South Carolina will beat Clemson this year.
Were you sniffing glue? What were you doing, Corn?
Inhaling
gas fume?
My rash call. Long way to go to November, and a lot of things can happen. But as I look at it today, I think South Carolina will be drastically improved, dramatically improved, and an offense that will be averaging over 30 points per game. Did I say something funny?
Oh,
I mean, yes. I'm a funny guy, but I don't think
are we at the ha-ha hole? I mean, what's going on here?
You don't
tip your waitresses.
Wait a minute. You don't think they can average 30 points a game?
All week.
I'm going to ask Mason Zandy. If you laugh at Mason Zandy, he will hunt you down and beat you into the ground. All right, we'll be right back. Okay. All right. Let's see who's laughing now. K-Mac laughed at me as we went to break, as I said the Gamecocks would average 30 or more points per game next season. Let's welcome in former Gamecock, big, strong, mean, nasty left tackle, Mason Zandy. First of all, how are you?
Doing great. I'm doing great. Thank you guys for having me.
Thanks for joining us. So will the Gamecocks average 30 points or more next season?
I can't quite speak on that right now, but young guys and Coach Roper, I think that offense is going to be explosive.
You saw progress, even though, of course, people remember what happened in the Clemson game. Then you flip around, you see what you did in the bowl game. You saw some progress there.
Absolutely. It's a weak thing, and I think building consistency is definitely a key, and those guys are working harder than ever now. I couldn't be more proud of them. I think they're going to do some special things next season.
All right, let's catch up with you. I know you're getting ready and working towards the draft. What are you doing to get ready for that? Where are you doing it, and how much are you doing?
So currently I'm in the D.C. area right now working with Sport and Speed Institute, just getting ready on every phase of the pro day and just getting myself, my body ready, and getting to the best me as I possibly can.
What do the pro scouts tell you they want to see from you in terms of your weight, your speed, things of that nature as you get ready for your camps and all that?
So right now, I guess my main focus is to be as big, as strong, and as fast as I possibly can be come pro day.
Mm-hmm.
And then, hopefully turn some heads and impress some scouts.
When you last measured out at USC, what were you height-wise and weight?
So I'm about 6'8.5", 315 pounds.
Mm-hmm. And you say get as big as you can. I mean, how much more weight can you put on that will be comfortable for you to play in?
So I want 325, but it's not a weight that you want to put on in 2 weeks. It's a weight that you want to put on over time, a really good, strong muscle weight.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you feel that this past season you were as strong as you could be? Did you reach your potential from that standpoint?
I was at the best I could be with the time that we were given. Coach Dillman and his staff do a phenomenal job in getting us ready for the season, not only preparing us, mentally, but also physically. And I think we were all at our best with the time that we were given with Coach Dillman.
Making the move from the right side to the left side, how did that impact you?
And, I was having conversations with, some of our younger tackles and just trying to get them to understand it's a different game. When you play on the left side, generally you're playing against their best defensive player. And, not only being proven to be mentally ready every single week is crucial.
Well, one of the things that people, I guess, they don't understand, especially at the left tackle position, you say you're playing arguably against the best defensive player. How much work are you putting in right now at being quick at your footwork, where to plant, how to deal with a speed rush as opposed to a bull rush?
Yeah, so that comes down to understanding your personnel. Understanding that your opponent, going into a game week or going into a practice or whatever it may be, understanding what type of rusher the defense end you're going against. And at the next level, most defense ends are capable of doing either speed or power, And in terms of how to counteract that and how to prepare yourself, your footwork is absolutely crucial, and your leverage is more important than anything.
Talk with Mason Zandy, former Gamecock offensive tackle, who was in your career, or if you want to narrow it down just to this past season, who was the most difficult defensive end for you to deal with?
Thankfully, I never had to block him in a game, but I tried to block him for 2 years. Here at South Carolina, it would definitely be Jadeveon Clowney.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, you're probably not alone in that category, but let's just go back to this past season. Who gave you the most difficult time as far as an opponent defensive end?
I'd have to tip my hat to Derek Barnett from Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
He's a real good player. he's got a high motor, and he's really capable of bending the edge. A good defensive end for sure.
Mason, you guys went into the bye week, and it looked like you were in serious trouble your season, and something seemed to turn for you guys. Can you put your finger on something that happened or that was said in the locker room? Was it as simple as the Jake Bentley effect, or was it more than that?
I think it's just obviously Jake had a lot of success when he was given the opportunity, but ultimately football comes down to a team game, and I've said it many a times, going throughout the season, is just we kept believing in the process, keep investing in ourselves, and keep working hard. And ultimately that led to a more successful second half of the season.
What did you think of Will Muschamp in his first go-round as South Carolina's head coach? The way he dealt with the players, the way he interacted with you guys, what do you take away from that?
Coach Muschamp and the way he runs his organization is first class. It's very professional. I really enjoyed my stay. I wish I would have, I wish some people wish I had another year with Coach Muschamp, because just being able to learn so much for him and his staff, and, the future's bright at South Carolina.
What does he tell you departing guys about staying connected to the program moving forward?
He always says it's very important, in a lot of ways. Football, college football, and especially playing for South Carolina is a fraternity, amongst the players, and just staying connected with your guys and understanding that the men that you fought and sweat and cried with and won and lost with are your brothers for life, and staying in touch with them is extremely important.
There were so many freshmen playing on your side of the ball last season, and Muschamp talked about how they had to keep things maybe in perspective for those guys and not do too much. Do you expect going forward? I mean, let me ask you this. Was the offense scaled back a little bit so those guys could learn? And do you expect it to open up more next season and beyond?
Certainly you have to not necessarily scale back, but slow down the learning process a little bit. Myself and a few other seniors, we've been in an offense for 4 years, and we understand the schematic side of playing offense at the college level. And some of these, freshman, sophomore needed to learn that. So we had to slow that down a little bit in order for them to fully grasp it and be able to put it on the field. It's one thing to understand a play and know what happens, but it's another thing, when you're standing in front of 85,000 and you can't hear yourself think, you got to know what to do. But next season, these guys are getting older. They're getting more mature. They're getting bigger, faster, stronger. They're in the same offense for 2 years now. I'm telling you right now, South Carolina's offense is going to be something special.
Over 30 points per game. Mark it down.
I'm not giving the number, but they're going to do something special.
They only need one more than the other team.
Hey, what are the pro scouts telling you about your draft possibility?
Right now, I've talked to a lot of scouts, and I've kind of left that to my agents, and really focused on getting myself better, correcting my weaknesses, and being able to showcase my talent.
Do you have any expectation, anything? I mean, do you think you'll be, fourth rounder, fifth rounder, anything in there that you're kind of setting as your goal?
My goal is to get an opportunity. Whether that's in the fourth round, whether that's in the seventh round, whether that's being a free agent, the opportunity is something that I'm looking forward to.
I'm sure you'll get your chance, because you can't coach big, and big you are, and it's a good it's a good way to start out in football is by being big.
Yes, sir.
Mason, we thank you, man, and we'll keep in touch here on this path. We hope it goes very well for you, and we appreciate your time and your comments.
You guys having me. Go Cox.
Gotcha. Thank you very much, Mason Zandy. All right, we appreciate Mason being with us. Gamecock big offensive tackle. Good luck to him towards the draft. Back in a moment. All right, thanks again to Mason Zandy for being with us here tonight. Hope it all goes well. And coming up in a moment, recruiting for you. We'll remind you that Palmetto Pride and the USDA want you to join in on the 10th annual Francis Marion National Forest Cleanup. Volunteers are needed February 4th in Berkeley and Charleston counties to help celebrate the 10th anniversary of the most popular litter cleanup they have. For more information, visit their website, palmettopride.org. Okay, recruiting. Our poll question, by the way, on the website, who will get, well, will USC hold on to Jamias Williams? And 52.5% say yes. By the name of Jeff Sintel, who works in corroboration with WSB-TV in Atlanta. I just saw a video of him talking about Williams and making his proclamation. He believes, he said, based on what he's told, that Williams will sign with Georgia. So, you know, it's anybody's guess right now, really. It's
if he's in Atlanta and want to stay employed, he might have wanted
those
to
guys don't want to be wrong either.
No.
I think South Carolina is going into this weekend based on all the tea leaves, just a little bit, but they're in the game.
Yeah.
But it does sound like they are playing from behind, even though they technically should be the leader, considering he's committed to them and has been since August.
His coach is Jeff Herron. I spoke with him yesterday, and he's in his first year at Grayson. He said to his knowledge, no coaches had been by the school this week from USC or Georgia to meet with Williams or offensive tackle Tony Gray, who has been a USC target. But I think if the Gamecocks take this way, he said he was totally shocked. He said, I didn't even know Jamias had a visit set up to Georgia. He had never been anything with me except South Carolina. And he quoted him as saying, Coach, done deal. Don't want to be in state. I've lived here all my life, and I want it to be something else. And the coach went on to say that he guesses Georgia got in there and talked him into visiting. I was surprised by that. So, you know, we'll see. Unless he totally has had a change of heart about wanting to leave the state. You know, tonight I feel a little more South Carolina than I did. Now, Clemson gets Travis Etienne Jr., Jennings, Louisiana, closes out their class at 14, 3,000-yard rusher, 43 touchdowns, originally committed to Texas A&M, also considered LSU and Tennessee. Pendleton defensive met last and into the evening with Will Muschamp and outside linebackers coach Mike Peterson from USC and Virginia Tech defensive line coach Charlie Wiles and his recruiter from Tech, James Shebist. Final in-person meeting for any coaches from the staffs with Johnson, and the hope was he would get some clarity and make a decision. However, that's not been the case. Coach Paul Sutherland from Pendleton is going to try to make up his mind by the weekend, but it may go down to signing day. They never thought it would come to this, the coach said. They thought that he would have a clear and easy decision, really with South Carolina being the team out front, but Virginia Tech has just done a great job recruiting him and has closed that gap to make it a 50-50 deal. And they're not trying to drag this out for drama or anything like that. The kid, according to his coach, is legitimately up in the air about where he wants to go to school at this point. USC today offered 2018 quarterback, that's spelled R-E-A-L, Mitchell. First of all, what parent gives his kid a name with a hyphen in the middle that he has to use to sign for his entire life? That's just me. 6 feet, 185. He goes to that really good prep school, Don Bosco Prep. He's out of Eastvale, California. He said he was excited with the offer. He said the staff expressed much interest in him and said he's exactly what they're looking for in a quarterback in his delivery to play, and from his delivery to his playmaking ability. He said distance won't be a factor when deciding his college. He also has offers from Arizona, Utah, Northwestern, and San Jose State. I gotta believe that the Gamecocks still have Joyner, Kerryon Joyner from Fort Dorchester, number one on their list. But Virginia Tech is making a very strong push for him as well. So they can't sit back and be too confident that they're going to get him. They've also got to have other quarterbacks on the board to go after for the 2018 class. According to his junior college, USC commitment defensive back Keyshawn Nixon firmly committed and will sign Wednesday. Nixon had hoped to enroll in January, but had to get another class on his academic record. So he's home in Compton, California, taking the class online. He now plans to enroll in the summer. USC today offered 2018 defensive back DeAndre Hollins of Tampa. Clemson offered 2019 linebacker Tresman Marshall of Homerville, Georgia. USC's Bobby Bentley today checked in on 2018 defensive lineman Josh Belk of Louisville. Muschamp plus some assistants from Clemson were at IMG Academy in Florida today. Muschamp is getting a visit this weekend from defensive end Robert Beal, who's a Georgia commitment. Now, see, this could be dangerous. Robert Beal is a Georgia commitment, okay? No one believes, who follows recruiting, that South Carolina has a chance to turn him, that he is locked solid with Georgia. Now, you got Jemias Williams coming in for a visit, who is, maybe tentative. So now you run the risk of Beal getting alone with Jemias Williams at some point in time and doing a little insider recruiting for Georgia. You think that might happen? Don't think it won't happen.
Oh, boy.
Don't think it won't happen. I mean, think about it. It would certainly make sense to me if Beal is, in his own mind, going to go to Georgia. You don't think the Georgia coaches have said, hey, while you're in Columbia this weekend, get Jemias to the side and remind him, hey, come play with me in Athens, da-da-da-da.
Yeah, you've seen schools tell kids not to come for that very reason.
Absolutely. That's why I'm a little bit,
and then,
unless they really believe they've got a chance to turn him, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
And then Jabarius Robinson will have on his Twitter account the tape of the television appearance by Jemias when he put the Gamecock hat on. Remember? Click. Send it to him again.
All right. And so Clemson coaches were there to visit with defensive end Xavier Thomas, as was USC, of course, the 2018 defensive end Xavier Thomas, and also 2018 defensive lineman Stephon Wynn Jr., who, of course, was at TL Hanna. Just a matter of time before Wynn commits to Clemson. If he comes in this weekend for their junior day, I wouldn't be surprised if he falls this weekend. I wouldn't be surprised if the receiver out of South Point, Darion Kendrick, committed to Clemson this weekend at the junior day. USC offensive line commitment, Jordan Rhodes of Fairburn, Georgia, canceled his visit this weekend to Missouri. He has shut down his recruiting. He's 100% with the Gamecocks. Blythewood tight end Roger Carter, offered by Georgia State. Dutch Fork receiver Bobby Irby committed to Newberry. Defensive back Latheron Rogers Anderson of Ridgeview was offered by Western Kentucky. Former Blythewood athlete Jordan Adams is now at Green Hope High School in Cary, North Carolina. His father, former USC defensive line coaching at North Carolina. 2018 Gaffney receiver Dennis Smith, recently offered by East Carolina, also has USC and Old Dominion. He will be at USC on Saturday. And USC on Wednesday offered 2018 receiver Darius Rush of C.E. Murray. Top of the hour break. We'll be back.
Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornblut, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
We are back, Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network, here on this Thursday night. Phil Kornblut, Kevin McCrary, together with you. Get back to your phone calls in a little bit. Much more ahead here tonight on Sports Talk. Been talking a lot of football recruiting, of course, but you know what begins tomorrow all around the country? It's the first day of baseball practice for the Division I teams. And you know, why not start at the top? We're going to hear from some Gamecocks and Tigers tomorrow, the coaches, as they move forward. But why not start at the top? And that means to the national champions, and they still are national champions until somebody knocks them off next summer. We welcome in Alex Cunningham of Coastal Carolina, standout pitcher, the man who got the last out in the championship game. He got that feeling of having the baseball in his hands and getting that last out, and I'm sure that still burns inside. Alex, how are you? Good to have you with us.
Thank you, man. I appreciate y'all having me. How's everyone doing tonight?
We are doing great. Hope you are as well. And, yeah, what's the off season been like for you now as you get ready to start it all up again tomorrow?
Just working on some mechanical things here and there, working on the mentality part of the pitching game, and honestly just developing the chemistry with all these new guys. Chemistry is the main part of any team, and building that camaraderie is a key part of that. So we're working on that, and as we go into tomorrow, that'll be our main focus.
Have you had to buy a meal anywhere in the state, a beverage? I mean, is everybody picking up the tab and slapping you on the back and all that?
I got my meals on campus, but getting recognized everywhere I go is one of the perks of everything that's happened. So yeah, I'm very grateful for all that.
In his meetings with you guys, of course, you've gone through a fall practice, and now you're getting ready for the real deal. What's more about how to deal with what you target on your back as the defending national champions? How has he told you guys to deal with, to not play last year, this year, that this year is an entirely new season?
Well, his main message is last year is pretty much in the minutes. Like you said, we did have a huge target on our back, but welcome that target, and no matter what we did last year, we still have a chip on our shoulder, and we look forward to competing again, and we're ready to get after it.
At what point last season did you guys realize you had something special? Your program, for those of us that keep up with baseball, it's not like you guys haven't been around and made your presence felt, but at what point did you realize that you guys had a team that was really special?
Well, I got to say that comeback at NC State, we went through all that hell, the rain. We were down.
Talking with Alex Cunningham here as his line's kind of dropping in and out. You still with us, Alex?
Yes, sir, I am.
Yeah, go ahead. You're kind of going through cell hell there, but we got you. Go ahead.
Yeah, like I said last year, whenever we overcame all those and everything with the rain and everything, we kind of felt like it was destiny. We felt like it was meant to be.
Now, as we look ahead to your team this year, of course, you suffered some key losses, but you got a lot of good people coming back, especially you talk about pitching with you and Andrew Beckwith. What roles will you guys play? Anything different in how Coach Gilmore is going to use you guys this season after what you did last year?
Well, Beckwith, the main change will be Beckwith will be a primary starter from the get-go. I don't know exactly what the roles will be as far as me Friday or him Friday, but it'll be me, Beckwith, and Jason Billis on the weekends, and then You know, we got some Keely Holmes, Cole Schaefer, and all those guys back. And we also got some new additions such as Will Latcham. And, you know, I think a couple freshmen will step up this year too. So from the pitching standpoint, I think we'll be all right. Now, offensively, we're going to have a total new approach to the way we approach everything. You know, it's hard to make up 100 home runs, you know.
Yes, I can imagine. Did you think last year's team would hit 100 home runs the way many home runs?
Yeah, well, we you know, we play in the so you know, no offense to those guys.
Spoken like a true pitcher.
Easy,
yeah.
It's pretty easy to get it out of our ballpark, but you know, our offense will step up, and I think everything will be just as we were last year. Like I said, we will have to have a different offensive standpoint, but you know, I think those guys will get the job done.
Okay, now you know this year you move into a new league, the Sun Belt. No longer in the Big South, so you're going to be playing people like Texas State and Arkansas State, Georgia State, and Georgia Southern, Appalachian State, etc. So supposedly a tougher baseball league, I guess, in the Big South. Are they telling you that you guys are kind of stepping up in competition here?
Yeah, you know, obviously stepping up in a bigger conference is going to be just a bigger team, but we welcome the challenge, and we look forward to competing. Like I said, you know, all our guys are hungry, and we all still have a chip on our shoulder.
Yeah, you got to go to Clemson game up at Clemson, but no Gamecocks on your schedule this year. Y'all a little surprised that you couldn't get together with South Carolina?
You know, that's not really for me to speak on, to be honest with you. I was hearing rumors that they canceled. I was hearing rumors that we canceled. You know, you never know till you hear the full story. But like I said, that's not really for me to comment on. I go.
If canceled on who?
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
You don't have to say it.
Now listen, how are you going to be walking around campus with your hero, your high school hero now on the coaching staff there?
You talking about Willie Corn?
Yes.
Yeah, you know, we welcome Willie Corn with open arms. You know, he's a great football coach. He was a great football player. Like he said, I looked up to him from the time I was in the 6th grade all the way until my time was finished at Burns. So, you know, I actually talked to him the other day, and I look forward to getting together with him. You know, he's a great football mind, and I think there's nothing but good things coming for coastal football.
Now, be honest with us. How many times a day do you go by and look at that national championship trophy just to make sure it's still there?
I see it every day, man. I really do, and I count my blessings every time I see it. I'm gonna be honest with you, because last year was a dream come true, and it truly was destiny for us to win it. It truly was, and you know, I'm so humbled and I'm so grateful for everything that happened last year.
Did you guys reach out to the Clemson football team or vice versa? Because, you know, you're the two teams from the state that won national championships for the sports in the last calendar year.
Oh, yeah. You know, I put a big shout out on Twitter. You know, they had a video of them celebrating whenever we won it. So, you know, in turn, I felt like we had to at least show the support. You know, if nothing else, we're happy that a team from the state of South Carolina won the whole thing. That's incredible. You know, just really putting South Carolina on the map. Not that we weren't already on the map, but you know, it really solidified our state as a dominant athletic, you know, state. Yeah.
And real quick, can you guys go back to back?
You know, getting to Omaha is one of the toughest things to do in any athletic sport. You know, football, basketball, baseball. You know, I mean, you got over 200 Division I teams, and for 8 teams on the road. But you know, being optimistic, yeah, of course we'll be back.
Being with us.
Thank you, man. I appreciate y'all having me. Y'all have a good one. All right.
trying to get them to understand it's a
season and beyond.
Well, to a degree, certainly you have to not necessarily scale back, but slow down the learning process a little bit. If
Thanks again to Alex Cunningham for being with us tonight. Who will be on the mound to get the last out of the 2017 College World Series in Omaha? Will it be a Gamecock? Will it be a Tiger? Will it be a Chanticleer? Will it be a Paladin? An Eagle?
I wonder who has that baseball now.
A Bulldog?
A Buck?
Speaking of the Bucks.
See what I did there? I set corn up.
Yeah. Stuart Lake is no longer the baseball coach at Charleston Southern. USC announced today that Stuart Lake is joining their program as the coordinator of baseball administration and director of player development, announced by Chad Holbrook. Former Gamecock baseball assistant coach, was the head coach at Charleston Southern for the last 8 seasons. He'll be involved with many aspects of the Gamecock program, including coordinating game day and practice needs for the coaches and players, and incorporating technology to enhance South Carolina's player development.
Last one out at Charleston Southern turned the lights off.
Truly. And he was replaced by an assistant coach,
Adam Ward,
off the Charleston Southern staff. Yeah. So that
he's a Hanahan native with Ward. So I mean, just a week or two, well, actually a day before practice starts, a month or so before the season starts.
So Charleston Southern's football program decimated by departure of the head coach and several assistants. Baseball program loses the head coach. Basketball team's having kind of a tough year this year, not having their typical. Barkley, last one standing, better build him a new building.
Really? I mean, the way they're going, Barclay's going to take an assistant job at Pillion Middle School.
Who knows? Yeah.
Just park that bulldozer outside and lift a few pieces of dirt. Let them know something is going on.
USC is number 4. Coastal's number 9. That was meant to ask a question. I forgot to ask Cunningham if they feel disrespected with the preseason ranking that they're getting. South Carolina 4, Coastal Carolina 9, and Clemson 12. TCU is number 1. ACC preseason poll came out yesterday. We never mentioned it. Florida State was picked to win the championship, and Clemson was picked second. Well, tied with actually Clemson, Louisville, North Carolina, and NC State. Each got 1 vote. Florida State got 10. Clemson was picked third in the Atlantic. Behind North Carolina was picked to win the Coastal. Where is the ACC baseball tournament this year?
It's in Louisville.
It's in Louisville this year.
Just what they need. Yeah, Louisville's not good enough. Let's let them play in their backyard.
Play in their backyard. Sometimes it's tough playing in your own backyard, but because that's a tough place to play.
Furman having under Nico Medved, he signed a new contract that will keep him through 2022. Mike Buddy made that announcement today. He really is doing a nice job. Last season, they were 19-16, 11-7 in the SoCon, and they have won now 14 in a row at home after just destroying Western Carolina the other night. They're 13-8 this season and 6-2 in SoCon.
You get a recruit on that campus, as pretty as that campus is, they don't want to go.
Presbyterian announced its football schedule for the coming year. They will go to Wake Forest August 31st to open the season. Then they'll go to the Citadel. Then they get Campbell and Cumberland at home.
Did anybody get Wake plays yet?
St. Home, Charles at home. Then they'll go to Monmouth, Liberty, and then home to Gardner-Webb. You know, they got some wins on this schedule, I would think. Campbell, Cumberland. I don't know who St. Francis is. That's a hospital in Charleston.
St. Francis of Assisi.
Yeah.
St. Francis Roper has a football team now.
I guess. So they got some wins built in there for their new staff. And this note from Duke. Mike Krzyzewski, not in a very good mood with his team.
Is he back now?
No, he's still on the mend after back surgery.
No pun intended.
And he held a meeting at his house Tuesday night. This according to ESPN. He informed the players that they were kicked out of the locker room temporarily, and he forbade them?
Forbade.
Or they are forbidden from wearing Blue Devils apparel.
So what are they going to wear in their next game? Like shirts and skins?
He wasn't happy, said one source close to the situation, especially after the loss to NC State.
He's done this before, this tactic.
How long will this last? Quote, until they start living up to the standards of the Duke program.
Well, Grayson Allen was suspended 1 game. This probably lasts 1 game.
All right, back to the phones we go, and we head to Bulldog Bert in Saluda.
How about them dogs?
Taking another beating on the recruiting trail now, aren't you?
Well, I see Will Muschamp making his way to Saluda yesterday. He was at Saluda High School. I don't know if he was checking out Star Ergle, the leading basketball scorer in the state for Dawn Staley, or he probably was checking out Elijah Brown.
Probably the latter.
That's right.
Probably the latter.
Right.
Yeah. Saluda putting out some athletes. What are you feeding those guys down there and gals?
Well, plenty of cornflakes. Double up on them in the morning before they go to school, and then they get,
Now, let me ask you this. I know that, when Mark Richt was at Georgia, you used to kind of be the bag man here in South Carolina. Is Kirby using your resources in the same fashion?
Well, I've got some inside scoops on that, but I haven't heard nothing out of kennel over there yet, but I imagine it won't be long. They'll come calling, seeing who they can get from South Carolina. They usually try to get the best players they can get out of South Carolina.
Yeah. Nice job by the Georgia basketball team last night. They look real sharp.
Well, when your coach gets thrown out of the game, I mean, anything can happen. So.
At least the coaches didn't get in a fight this week.
I thought he did that to fire up his team because, as we said before, mentally, some teams let one loss become two, and that team looked like they were still freaked out.
The only team he fired up last night was the seat underneath him.
Yes.
What was the final spread?
I think it was about 16.
They got to be pretty good. LSU took the gas last night against Florida too.
That word Alabama stood out. I think that scared them a little bit.
Yeah. I thought they were playing football.
So Bulldog
Kirby Smart was coaching that team.
Bulldog, who's going to win the SEC East in football in 2017?
Who's going to win?
Tennessee?
Florida?
No, the Dogs.
Oh, come on.
I think Muschamp's still another year.
We're going to win the East. We're going to go on in the Final Four, too.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Hey, pass a little of this direction. I'll take a swig.
Who do you think did a better job in their first year at their respective school? Smart or Muschamp?
Well, Muschamp.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right
you think Muschamp did?
It's not even close.
Would you rather would you rather have Muschamp?
Living in Spurs, Smart was living in Rick.
Well, and Smart actually inherited a pretty good football team, whereas Muschamp inherited a steamy pile of dog. What?
Correct.
Of course, now I will give Smart this. He did have to deal with the up and downs of a freshman quarterback, and that's not a good thing anytime you step in. And of course,
and Muschamp didn't.
No. I'm not saying. I'm just saying in Smart's defense, they had to deal with that. But there'll be no excuses now. I mean, Kirby Smart, you talk about your hot seat. I think he immediately goes on the hot seat in year 2 because there's no honeymoon period anymore, especially in a place like Athens.
Well, that hot seat
they better win. They better win the East.
Well, the hot seat started because 2 years in a row you lose to Georgia Tech. That doesn't happen.
No, it's not going to happen. And he's cool riding around in his helicopter, the dog copter. No. And that's why he's going to be number 3 or 2 in the recruit this year.
Okay, let's see what they can do with them. All those 4. You know what Steve Spurrier used to say every time he beat Georgia? How we beat Georgia with all those 4 and 5 stars over there? We just got these little 3 stars.
He didn't the last.
How we beat Georgia?
How did it go?
Well, when he was at Florida. When he was at Florida, he used to say that.
I think Georgia hung half 100 on him in Athens the last time.
That they did.
Steven or Spurrier.
But I think when he was at Florida, he put 50-something on
Georgia thought they had arrived, and then this little team from Alabama came in there.
Who was that?
Well, Alabama, after they blew out South Carolina, Alabama came in there, a couple of weeks later.
Little team from Alabama.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be right back. 800-956-7266. All right, we're back. Sports Talk. 800-956, our number. Got some email been kind of fermenting in our email
I love
box.
it when Corn cleans out the football season here.
Yeah, if it's good. If it's good. They never
he
grow
does this
old.
like once a quarter.
It's like fine wine. It just gets better in time. Speaking of fine wine, you know what a Jewish woman's favorite wine is?
Stop. Be careful.
Honey.
Yeah, you're right on it, K-Mac. You've been married to a Jewish woman long?
I've been working with you too long.
It's really I want to go to Miami.
Yeah.
That's her favorite wine. I want to go to Miami. Anyway, on we go. Let's talk some basketball. Well, Clemson basketball, I want to remind you, you can get a slam dunk with Founders Federal Credit Union, now open in Tigertown. Founders Clemson location on Greenville Highway next to the Walmart Neighborhood Market. They also have 4 on-campus ATMs, 3 of which accept cash and check deposits. Visit RelaxJoinFounders.com to see if you qualify for membership. Founders Federal Credit Union is federally insured by NCUA. Number again is 800-956-7266 if you want to chime in. So what in the heck is going on with Clemson basketball? I was thinking about this today as I was knocking down some jumpers over at the gym, thinking how the Tigers could really use my defensive prowess. I'm just trying to figure out why they're not better. They've got
Where
talents.
are you on the ladder all-time scoring list, Corn?
You'd have to dig.
He's got 1 home run.
Have to dig back through
more than 100
the
points in your
books.
career. Do you think?
I'm one of those people. I just never kept up with my
Yeah,
stats.
sure.
Never kept up with my stats. Anyway, stay on point here, K-Mac.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Just
stay on.
I know
point.
you're into the high school stats.
Players go to Pittsburgh. 11-8. Really, we didn't see this coming. We knew they'd face a tough slate when they got into ACC play, but they came out of the preseason. What were they like? 10-3, 10-2 before they got into ACC play. And they just hit a wall. North Carolina, Notre Dame, Georgia Tech, Virginia, Louisville. I mean, this is a talented Clemson team. I think I said before the season that this is an NCAA team. This team should be in the NCAA tournament. And now it's a very long shot for that and almost about to play itself out of the NIT picture. I mean, you got a first-round NBA player if he was projected for the first round after last year. Now, you're hung up on star ratings. Well, you got Shelton Mitchell, the 4-star guy, when he was coming out of high school, went to Vanderbilt and transferred. You got the big guy in the middle, Thomas. He was a 4-star guy coming out of Texas. The top recruit when he went to Texas A&M, very highly recruited. Dante Grantham was Virginia Player of the Year in high school. They have got the talent. Then you've got a guy like Avery Holmes, who was a standout at San Francisco before he transferred, a quality player. Why is it not working to winning baskets? Simple enough just to – I don't accept that they say these guys can't play defense. I mean, they're basketball players. They have to know how to play defense.
Well,
they have to play.
You got to buy into it. And what Brownell has been saying is these guys have an offense-first mentality, some of these guys that he's brought in. Now, he did bring these guys in, and you've got to have them buy into your philosophy. But he said it just doesn't come first nature to them. They're not thinking, showing. And Brad Brownell's whole MO is defense. That's where he makes his hay. And if they're not playing defense, which they're not, they're going to lose. They were able to get by early in the season, maybe because they had some good offensive production and they didn't play some of these teams that they're playing now. The competition's gone up in ACC play, but it's not like they're getting blown out, Pro. They've been in pretty much every one of these games, sans Louisville. They've had a chance to win these games. Overtime loss against North Carolina. They lost by a point against Virginia Tech. They were
Georgia Tech beat them by
right
12
there against Virginia, 5 points. Yeah, Georgia Tech beat them pretty soundly, but Virginia Tech, North Carolina, there's 3 or 6 losses that were by a total of 6 or 7 points.
Yeah, well, the thing is, basketball is a tremendously unique sport in that there's 5 guys, and you got to have the chemistry offensively and defensively. we've already seen now that Jerron Blasingame, even though a great player, he tends not to demand the basketball when he needs to demand it. In Clemson, when they come down to stretch corners, almost like Groundhog Day, they want to see which way they're going to blow this one. Mm-hmm. And that's what they're doing. They don't get the key stop when they need it in the last 3 to 5 minutes of the game, and they can't seem to hit the key basket that would really give them some room or give them the impetus to close out a basketball game. So I see a team slipped a little bit. However, I also see a team that really can't deal with the chemistry. Every team has their pet plays down the stretch and who they're going to close out a game. And I don't think they figured that out yet because Blasingame is a guy I think, in my mind, should demand the ball down the stretch. And he kind of defers to the guards. Now, Shelton Mitchell can score, and I think Elijah Thomas can grow into his role. And as I said before, when you look at Dante Grantham, very promising, but has not built on that. And waiting to see him turn the corner. And let me tell you this is a dangerous game they're going in because Pittsburgh got destroyed. Mm-hmm. And you know they want to make up for it. So you're going to be meeting a buzzsaw, and you got to meet them right at midcourt. And you knocked them off last year in that arena in Pittsburgh.
This is what's got to be driving Brad Brownell crazy. In conference play to this point, teams are shooting almost 50% against Clemson from the floor, 42% from three. They're being outscored by 7 points per game in ACC play. They're being out-rebounded by 8 rebounds per game in ACC play. Forget all the stuff prior to. It's what you do in your conference that matters the most. And they're just not playing defense. And again, this is a team that Brownell and his staff put together, so they have to live with who is on their roster. They took these transfers and they recruited these guys. And this was supposed to be a year. I don't think anybody around Clemson basketball was supposed to be a year that they were going to go to the NCAA tournament for the first time since his first year. He's only been once, right?
Yeah, his first year.
When his first year. So this was supposed to be that. What was coming back and what they were adding to it on paper, this was an NCAA tournament team. They've had some close losses, but those count too. Yeah. So now maybe, they get a little bit of a pros right. Pittsburgh, they're not real happy up there with
Stalling.
Yeah, right now. I mean, some of the former Pittsburgh players are saying some nasty things about him.
He's only been there for a minute.
Well, really? But they just got beat by 50-something points.
I mean, it takes a minute.
But the Tigers get Pittsburgh and Georgia Tech at home. So they could get a couple of wins right there.
They've got to turn it around. If not, let's just be real. Brad Brownell is in serious trouble at the arena. This was a team that we just mentioned was set up to succeed, and if it doesn't happen, it's going to make Dan Radakovich make a decision.
Well, let's look at how many wins they have left that we think they can get. Pittsburgh, I think Saturday they can get. Georgia Tech at home, I think they can get. I don't think they can win at Florida State. I think they can beat Syracuse at home. Syracuse is
they're really
not all that. Duke, if Coach K lets them play in Cameron, I'm not sure
they have uniforms.
He'll let them back in by then.
They'll let them in, yes.
It's going to be,
but they won't beat Duke. But they can beat Wake Forest at home. That's 4 wins. I don't think they'll win at Miami or at Virginia Tech. But their last 3 at home, Florida State, NC State, and Boston College, are all winnable. There's about 7, maybe 8 wins left on their schedule down the stretch.
Just get the first one.
Well, they got to get that first one, yeah.
Yes.
Be right back. USC women are playing tonight over in Athens. And what you got there, Pro?
Yes, looks like a defensive struggle tonight. They're at the half. South Carolina leading Georgia 23-15. So Georgia's probably letting the air out of the ball tonight. So that's where they are right now.
Well, looking forward to that game in February if Connecticut keeps winning. And hopefully USC women will keep winning. They'll roll into Storrs, Connecticut, with Connecticut sitting on 99 consecutive wins.
That is ridiculous.
It's a lot of wins.
We've got some other basketball going on also in the Big South. High Point leading Charleston Southern 18-17 in the first half. Winthrop all over Gardner-Webb. That's at Gardner-Webb 29-17. And UNC Asheville all over Presbyterian at halftime 40-21. I think the College of Charleston is in action tonight too in the CAA. And they are trailing Towson 29-28 with 2 minutes to go in the half.
All right, very good. If you have some comments for us here late in the program, 800-9556. Let's take a look at some of this delicious have in here. Yarkey, always good to hear from Yarkey. Why didn't Clemson recruit Devon Hunter as one of their top safety targets? I also think Clemson should have gone after a top defensive line prospect. Well, I'm sure they evaluated him and looked at him, and I think they even offered him. I remember his name coming up early on in recruiting. He narrowed his list down to Alabama, Auburn, North Carolina, Virginia Tech, and Florida. Back when he was doing, I'm not sure if he's committed somewhere or not. I haven't followed him, so I don't really know. He's an athlete out of Chesapeake, Virginia. I guess they looked at, you're not going to get every one of them. And I guess when he reduced his list, Clemson was not on that short list.
He wasn't all in.
This is from Greg, who says, how tough do you think it's going to be for recruiting in Florida now that they have Mark Richt, Charlie Strong, Lane Kiffin, and Jimbo Fisher? It's pretty tough. Florida recruiting, I'm not sure if you're asking for South Carolina or Clemson purposes. It'll be tough, but, the state of Florida produces so many great players good enough to play in the Power 5 conferences all over the country. So, and the in-state schools can only take so many. And still, South Carolina should out-recruit South Florida and FAU when it comes to the elite players in Florida. I would think that South Carolina and Clemson would have a stronger appeal in terms of wanting to play at that level versus playing at South Florida. And
Rick, is he not?
Yeah. Now, Rick in Miami and of course, the Florida and Florida State people, they're going to be very strong down there. But I don't foresee. Of course, Charlie Strong has got his very strong ties in the state of Florida, too. I could perhaps see him making more of an impact, and he's at a better program and a bigger school than Lane Kiffin is.
And that whole Tampa area, going down to the Orlando area, and he'll probably cut a swath through there in recruiting.
This is from this is still good. It's been sitting in here a couple of weeks, K-Mac, but it's still good.
Oh.
Still timely.
All right.
Well, our friend Tal Payne, his stuff never grows old.
Okay.
Spurrier Jr. was recently quoted as saying the OBC was turned off by what recruiting had evolved into. Spurrier Jr. has also been quoted as being cool toward the recruiting process, whining about wanting to be home every night. Considering the size of his family, he writes,
oh, no.
USC football recruiting was a low priority in his life.
Low blow.
That's what he wrote.
Foul.
Anyway,
low
he says, I have been a Carolina fan for most of my 73 years, and I appreciate the success OBC brought to USC, but I cannot help but feel betrayed by his last couple of years, and I resent the train wreck he left when he took the cowardly way out. To mix my metaphors, he jumped off the sinking ship and said, to hell with y'all. Another thing that really bothers me is the fact that he and Junior basically took their last 2 years off, yet continued to accept their substantial salaries, I like to think I would have more self-respect. Well, I do believe he continued to coach to keep Junior employed. I do believe that. I think he stayed on because his son's what was Junior making at Carolina? $300,000, whatever it was. It's good money, and I think he stayed an extra year or two to keep the family there and to keep his kid employed. Well, what father wouldn't?
Yeah,
if you had that
I think he was having a good time when they were winning. I remember the Outback Bowl when they were playing Michigan, and he was loosey-goosey, feeling good, and said he had no intention at that point of hanging it up because they were winning. They were having fun. He liked the team that he had, the players he had. What happened is Jadeveon Clowney went to the NFL. Connor Shaw graduated, and the guys they started bringing in.
Yeah, but great programs lose players came back, and if you have built a program, you have players.
South Carolina
ready to plug in.
Well, they lost some guys. I mean, Marcus Lattimore graduated. Mike Davis stepped in there. Steven Garcia left. They had Connor Shaw. They did do that for a few years. That's how they won, 8 games, 9 games, 10 games,
Short
11
period
games.
of time. Short period of time.
For about a 4 or 5 year period.
then
They
again,
were plugging in different guys, and then it fell apart.
But then again, that's why they have a cooling off period. And Spurrier need a cooling off period before he opened his mouth after a tough loss or whatever and said, well, I'm going to do this 2 or 3 more years. I thought that was the death knell.
When he died, his coaching career died, was the Tennessee game at Williams-Brice Stadium when they lost that game in the final 30 seconds or whatever happened, that goofy ending of that game. I mean, you'll watch football
blowing a big lead
your whole life. You'll never see that. I mean, it was,
but
and he didn't take questions, and he was done. I mean, that was it for him.
It was interesting, though.
He checked out.
It's interesting how things work out, though, because at that time, Spurrier would go on, the next year was it? And knocked off Muschamp. They got him fired. They got him set up to take this job a couple of years after that.
I think that I think South Carolina people, talking administration here, were hoping that whenever Spurrier left, that he would leave the program in better shape than he found it. In actuality, he found the program down here.
Right.
He took it up to here.
Right.
And he took it back down.
Yeah, he left it how he found it.
So that's probably disappointing to a lot of people.
I think you're seeing that
10
now.
years in a program, if in the success that they had, you should have a program. It should be kind of self-sufficient at that point. But you're right. And I think the combination of losing Ellis Johnson, of losing losing Shane Beamer, all those good recruiters, and giving the job to Steve Spurrier Jr., who apparently, based on his own words and what others have said, had no interest in really being a good recruiting coordinator and getting after it. And his award to hire his own defensive staff made up of friends.
There it is.
Maybe he didn't get the best available coaches out there.
That's how it got away from him.
But
it's not rocket science.
Then again, Deke Adams throws a boomerang and he ends up where he was.
I guarantee you, if Deke Adams was at South Carolina today, though, the fans would be loving him because his son.
Well, no, I don't think they would be loving him watching the defensive line play the way
they'd find a way to say nice things because they want the.
One of the deals
by East Carolina, now he's going back to North Carolina.
Before that, this pound at ESPN said he was one of the best defensive recruiters in the ACC.
Yeah, he wasn't. I don't think that was a terrible hire at the time, but it didn't work out. Those guys didn't work out. That's why they are at other schools and why Steve Spurrier's on a golf course.
Because when you got 7 sitting on one end of your defensive line, offensive line just don't mess it up.
Great players make great coaches.
Yeah. Getting the most out of Clowney, Brad Loyne was the perfect coach for Jadeveon Clowney.
That will do it. Tomorrow night, basketball, baseball, and more recruiting. You know it. Have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow.